Hello everybody, I'm Hema from Skill to Make Technologies. Today I'm going to talk about fundamentals and introduction to C programming. It's nothing but your module 1. So here is the syllabus. The first topic of the syllabus is C tokens. Tokens are the smallest element of a program which are meaningful to the compiler. We can call C tokens the objects. So here are the different tokens, keywords, operators, strings, special characters, identifiers. All these technical terms are nothing but C tokens. Let's check the keywords. Keywords are predefined. If you want to declare, if you want to give any technical term to the compiler, you have to follow these keywords. If you observe keywords used in programming that have a special meaning to the compiler, whenever you want to communicate with the compiler, you have to give a proper keywords. So here, example the keyword is int pen. Here, pen and key both are the separately we can call it as a variable and the data type. Together we can call it as a keywords. If you observe variable in C, variable is nothing but name given to a storage area that our program can manipulate. Example is integer int a is equal to 20. Here age is the variable name, int is the data type and the value is 20. If you want to create any program without variables, you can't create the program. First you need to declare the variable name with a specified data type, then value of the variable, then you can use the variable anywhere in the program. So data types. We have a primitive data types, derived data types. Basically, these two are the main types in the data types. We all know that primitive data types are integer, char, float, double. Derived data types are array, structure, union, enum, pointers. Next topic, format specifier. Before this, I want to show you an example. Here I'm using online C compiler, nothing but online GDP. So here I'm using online GDP. Now I'm going to declare few variables with the different data types. So I want integer data type. Here for integer, I created a variable a and assigned the value 5. So I'm trying to print that value. So if you want to print anything from the screen, you have to use a function called printf. That is, we can call it as input output functions, printf and scanf. So I want to print a value. So if I pass directly a like this, compiler can't understand what is a because you know that a is a variable. But the main part here is compiler should understand your language. Machine can't understand the user level language, right? There is a small difference between user level language and the machine level language. If you observe here, user can understand simple English language. So we can call it as user level language, machine level language. Machine can understand only zeros and ones. So there is a mediator called compiler. Each and every programming language will have their own compiler. So, what is the functionality of the compiler? It will convert the user level language into the machine level language and machine level language to the user level language. So, if you wanna ask something to the compiler, if you, I mean to say the program, you have to write the program and execute it and compile it. So after compilation, user will expect some output. Here, I want to print a value. I'm giving int a is equal to 5. By reading this line, the compiler will create the memory for variable a with integer type memory. Integer means it will create 2 bytes of memory or 4 bytes of memory. It depends upon the compiler. So for example, here I am using online compiler. It will allocate only 2 bytes of memory for the integer variable. So a variable have 2 bytes of memory. Here the value of a is 5. Now I want to print a value. So I'm using a printf function to print the value. I know that a is a variable. I already created it. But compiler don't know what is a. I want to print it. So you are expecting a value from the compiler, right? You want to print that on the console or the space where we can see the output. But compiler don't know what is a. So a is an integer, right? For that reason, we are using format specifiers. Each and every data type will have their own format specifiers. Integer, percentile D, float, percentile F, character, percentile C, string, percentile S, double, percentile L. So here I want to call integer variable. For that reason, I have to use percentile D, then comma, I want to call the variable. Compiler can't understand if you simply pass the a variable. A is understand by the user, but you have to give the proper meaning because you are expecting the value from the compiler. You want to print the value from the uh, program, right? So I already assigned a memory. I already stored the value. So using this percentile d, compiler can understand there is an integer value with the name a. I want to print it on the screen. Then it will call and print this value on the screen. Fine. Let me try it. So here I have to pass percentile d because I'm using integer variable, right? So here I'm using integer variable. That's why I'm passing percentile d. So I can get the value. If you observe here, so here are the format specifiers. For integer, it's a percentile d. For float, it's a percentile f. For character, it's a percentile c. For string, it's a percentile s. Double, percentile lf. Let's see the small program. We all know that swapping of two numbers. So, how to perform a swapping of two numbers? Simple swapping. I have int a value 10, b value 5. I want to swap these two numbers. So, by reading this, memory will create for the variables a and b, right? A value 10 and b value 5. What is the swapping? You need to change the a value 5 and b value 10. It's nothing but swapping. So if you want to swap these two values, you need one more variable called third variable or a temporary variable. Here I am going to declare one more variable, temporary variable. If you observe here, I am going to, so here is the temporary variable location. First I am going to assign a value to temp. So a value to temp. Using is equal to operator, I am going to assign a value to temp. That is nothing but this 10 value will go to this temporary variable, right? Now a is free. Now a is free. I can easily shift this b value to a, right? So a is equal to b. So that I can shift b value to a, 5 will be here and this memory will be free up. Now this is free. I need to assign temp value to b. B is equal to temp. So you'll be getting 10 here and this temporary variable usage is done. So swapping is done. Simply we need to print a value. Now a value will be 10 and b value will be, sorry, a value will be 5. B value will be 10. Before swapping, a value is 10, b value is 5. Swapping is done. Let me write this program. So a value is 10, b value 5, and you can declare the temporary variable here itself. So memory created for a, b temporary variable. First I am going to assign a value to temp. Now I am going to assign b value to a. Now I am going to assign temp value to b. Here is the logic of the program. Now I want to print Now I want to print a value after swapping, right? So you can write after swapping a is, you can write the string statement in the double quotes, and you have to give percentile d, because I'm going to call the integer value. For the compiler better understanding, I have to give this percentile d comma a. So you can copy this line and you can edit it for the b value. So here after swapping, b is, so I'm done with the program. Let me execute it. Why I'm using percentile d? Because both are integer values. Uh, Here is a space. After swapping, a is 5. After swapping, b is 10 comma 5. Oh, why like that? After swapping, b is, we need to get only one variable. Sorry. Oh, here I have one more printf. Sorry. Okay. So if you observe here, after swapping, A is 5. Before swapping, A is 10. After swapping, B is 10. Before swapping, B is 5. So if you want the different line, you have to use this keyword slash, and you will be getting the next line. You will be getting, first you will be getting after swapping A value, then in the new line you will be getting the B value. So here is the simple program swapping of two numbers. So in the interviews, sometimes interviewer may ask, can you please swap the two numbers without using a third variable? In that case, so there is no point of using this temporary variable. I mean to say, without using temporary variables, can we swap the two numbers? Yes, we can swap the two numbers without a temporary variable or without a third variable. Let's check the logic. So here, no more third variable, only A and B. Let me create memory for A and B. A is equal to 10 and B is equal to 5. So what is the logic? A is equal to first A plus B. Now tell me, A is equal to A plus B. A is equal to A plus B. What is the current A value? 10. What is the current B value? 5. So 10 plus 5, 15. A value will be replaced by 50. Now before A value is 10, now A value is 15. The second line of the logic is B is equal to A minus B. Okay, B is equal to A minus B. What is the current A value? 15 minus, what is the current B value? 5. 15 minus 5, 10. So now the updated B value is 10. Previously it was 5, now it is 10. Last logic line, A is equal to A minus B. A is equal to, what is the current A value? 15 minus, what is the current B value? 10. 15 minus 10. So 5. This 15 will replace by 5. So if you observe here, A value is 5, B value is 10. Swapping is done. So logic is A is equal to A plus B, B is equal to A minus B, A is equal to A minus B. Without using third variable also, we can perform the swapping of two numbers. Let's check. So don't declare the third variable. We don't need it because we are doing a swapping of two numbers without using a third variable. So A is equal to A plus B is equal to A minus B, A is equal to A minus B. Let's execute the program. So if you observe, after swapping, A is 5, B is 10. Let me change the values. A is 100, B is 5. So if you observe, after swapping, A is 5, B is 100. So these two are basic programs, swapping of two numbers. So next slide, input and output functions. Input, that means compiler should expect some data from user. Output, it should display something on the screen after performing the program. So here we have input and output functions, scanf and printf. Printf, it will print something on the screen. Scanf, it will read something from the user. If you want to give any value, for example, in this program I directly declared A and B value. Instead of this, you can ask user to enter A value and B value, and you can read the value from the user. See, if I want to change the B value, I have to go to the program and I need to change it. So instead of that, the program should ask user to enter A value, B value. According to the user wish, he can enter whatever the values he want. So let me check that. So here I'm simply declaring integer A, integer B. I'm not passing any values because I want to ask user to enter A value and B value. So for that reason, printf, I'm asking user to enter A value. By reading this message, user will enter something on the screen. Immediately, compiler should read the value, right? So using this scanf function, you can read the value. So how to read the value? What is the syntax of reading the value? If you want to read the value from the keyboard, so you have to use scanf function and you need to give the format specifier of the variable. What is the format specifier of this A? A is an integer variable. You have to give percentile D. Percentile D is nothing but a format specifier of an integer value. And here I'm using a special character called ampersand. It stores the address of the variable. Here he'll enter, after reading this message, user wants to enter some value 5 or 10 or 100. I want to read the value and store in the variable A. So again, I'm repeating these steps for B value. So I'm storing the value in B. So let me execute this program. Enter A. I want A value 5. Enter B. 10. After swapping A is 10, B is 5. Let me explain this program. If you observe here, I already told you execution will always starts from this main method. So after this main method, I have the block of the code. So here is a starting point, here is the ending point. Int a comma b. By reading this particular line, it will create integer memory for the variable a and b. So here I have a, b. Integer means 2 bytes, 2 bytes. So memory allocation is done. So after creating the memory allocation, it will go to the next line, printf enter a. So by reading this line, user wants to give some value 5. He'll enter some value right after reading this message. So it's an integer value. So if you want to read any value, you have to use a function called scanf. So here I'm using scanf. Percentile D, which is a format specifier of an integer because A is an integer value. Address of A, it will read the value and assign to the A variable. Now 5 will store in variable A in the memory. After that, printf enter B. You'll be getting this message enter B on the screen. By reading it, you'll give some value and scanf. It will read by the scanf function and assign to the B variable. So now I have a b value 10. A is equal to a plus b. So we know after this it will perform these three lines, then execute this printf statement on the screen. So can I write these two a and b in the single printf and scanf? Yes, we can write. If you observe here, enter a and b values, you can write like this. You can write any message in the double quotes, but whenever you want to read with a single scanf, because here I'm going to enter two values, that means I have to specify two format specifiers, and first value I'm going to assign to the a variable, second value I'm going to assign to the b variable. That's why I assigned ampersand a comma ampersand b. Please don't mention any comma or any other delimiter or into say any symbol in this particular percentile d, because both are integer values, no need to separate them. So let me execute it. Now enter A and B. If you observe here, I entered one value A, that is 3. Now the compiler is asking me to enter one more variable, because here we are expecting one more value. So let me enter 5. So after swapping, A is 5, B is 3. Printf and scanf, these two are input out and output functions. Next, getChar, putChar functions. These getChar and putChar functions, it will read only one character from the screen, and it will display only one character, single character at a time. So these two are also input and output functions. GetChar function reads only one character from the terminal. And putChar, it will display only one character, single character at a time on the screen. So let me explain this. A simple program using getChar and putChar. So here I am declaring char a is equal to, here I am giving within the single quote I am giving a, b, c. So now if you observe here, if I want to print f, what is the format specifier of this character? Percentile c, right? So if I call a value, I'm just simply print this a value. Let me run it. If you observe, there is a warning. I am able to read only C. Let me run it again. Because character will have, it's not, char A is not able to read A, B, C values, because character data type will have only 1 byte memory, only 1 byte. That means it's capable to store only one character at a time, because we can't store multiple values. So here I'm going to assign M, character M. Now I have, see, I'm not getting any warnings because I passed only one character. Char A variable can store this only one character because it has the memory only 1 byte, very small memory. Okay. Now get char and put char. First, I'm declaring int a, because I'm not passing any character value to the a variable, because I want to use printf function. Enter a character. So by reading this message, user will enter some character. Here I'm not gonna use a scanf function. Without scanf function, I'm going to get the char from the printf method. After reading this, user will enter some character. I'm going to read that character using getChar function, getChar method, and I'm assigning that character to variable A. Now I want to display that character using putChar function. I'm going to read that particular character value. So let me execute it. Enter a character. I want here I'm passing a character value M. So I'm able to display that character. If I pass more than one character, for example, R and T, it will read only one character because getChar function reads a character from the terminal and returns only one character on the screen. Only one. If you give multiple characters also, it won't read all of them. It will read only one character and display only one character from the input string. String is nothing but collection of characters. So please observe this get character. Instead of a scanf function, we are going to use this get char to read the character from the user. Put char is just display the character stored in the variable A. That's all about get char and put char. What is the difference between scanf and gets? Scanf stop reading characters when it is encountered a space. Whenever you are, if you want to read the character from the screen, from the terminal, if it is found a space, it will stop reading. Gets reads the space as a character too. It will read the space also as a character. It will store the space in the memory as a character. It's nothing but it will allocate 1 byte memory to the space. Next, operators. We have arithmetic operators, relational operators, and logical operators, bitwise operator, increment and decrement operator, assignment operator. So basically, in this, arithmetic operators are nothing but all these are basic operators plus, minus, multiplication, division, all this. Relational is nothing but and or, right? Relational operators. So there is a big difference between these bitwise operators and the logical operators. Sorry, relational operators are nothing but less than, greater than. Logical operators are and, logical or, logical nor, and or, nor, not. All these are the logical operators. So uh, here I have a big question. There is a bitwise operators and the logical operators. Let me explain that. First, here I want to write one simple program. So we all know that if else statements, right? I have wait. Here I'm writing one small logic. Here you have a value 10, b value 5, a greater than b, 10 greater than 5. So if the condition is true, you'll be getting A is big. So because I have only two variables, I can simply write one single statement. If A greater than B, then A is big, else B is big. But if I have one more variable, A, B, C, there is a program called find the biggest number among these three variables. In such case, many students, many people will write if A greater than B ampersand ampersand A greater than C, then A is big. Else, else if b greater than a, ampersand b greater than c, b is big. Else c is big. Here is the logic of the program. Find out the biggest number among three variables. Why you are using this double and operator? A small question from my side. Or the same program will work with a single and? Yes or no? Can I replace this double and with a single and? Let me check. So here I am taking A, B, C variables. So printf, I'm going to ask user to enter A value, B value, and C value. So within the single printf and scanf statement, I'm writing. So I need to write 3 times percentile %d, that is a format specifier, ampersand a, ampersand b, ampersand c. So first value I'm going to assign to a, second value b, third value to c. Now I have a, b, c values. Let me write the logic. If a greater than b, yeah. So here I'm using biggest of three number program. So ampersand a greater than b, ampersand a greater than c. If the condition is true, if you observe here, each and every line in the programming, in the C programming will have a semicolon. But here I'm not placing any semicolon in the if line, because you have to place the semicolon at the end of the line, but this is not the end of the line. After this, I have a continuation. If a greater than b, ampersand a greater than c, if the condition is true, I want to print a is big. The block of the statement is done. Now see, if the statement is true, I want to end this line here. That's why I placed the semicolon here. If the condition is false, I'm going to write nested if loop with a different condition b greater than a. I'm checking a and b values with a and c values with b greater than a and b greater than c. If this condition is true, I want to print b is big. Else, so we have only one statement, that is both the conditions false means c is big, right? So here I used a logical AND operator. So here I am entering a value, b value, and c value. C is big. So I'm able to execute the program using this logical AND. Let me replace logical AND with a bitwise AND operator. Just now I have a screen, logical operators, bitwise operators. Single AND, sorry, the single AND operator is a bitwise AND operator. So here I replaced logical AND operator with a bitwise operator. So now I gave a value 10, b value 23, c value 43. Oh, I got the output, correct output 43. C is the biggest number. then why you are using double and, I mean to say logical and operator instead of a bitwise and operator? What is the difference between logical and operator and a bitwise and operator? Let me explain this. I'm going to copy this program. I'm able to execute the program using the single and operator also. What is the major difference? The major difference is, whenever you are going to use a single and, first let me explain with the double and operator. If A greater than B, double and A greater than C. In this case, first I'm going to assign the values. A value 10, B value 56, sorry, and 77 C value. Here 10 greater than 56, condition false. 7 greater than 56, condition false. Here 10 greater than 56, condition false. Whenever you are going to use a double and operator, if this is the first condition and this is the second condition, right? If you use double and operator, if the first condition is false, it will check the second condition also. In case if you get the first condition false, it will check the second condition also. But here in the bitwise operator, if the first condition is false, it won't check the second condition. It won't check the second condition. If the first condition is true, then only it will check the second condition. So in this case, for example, A value is 100. Here the condition is true, right? 100 greater than 56, true. Then it will check 100 greater than 7. If the first condition is true, then only it will check the second condition. First condition is true, then it will check the second condition. Both true, then you will be getting a block of statement. But here, irrespective of the result of the first condition, it will check the both the conditions. First condition true or false. It won't care. It will check the second condition. In the logical AND operator, the main difference between the logical operator and the bitwise operator is, logical AND operator will check the both the conditions in the single if loop, irrespective of the result of the first condition. But in the bitwise AND operator, if the first condition is false, it won't check the second condition, it will go to the next loop. If the first condition is true, then it will check the second condition. So what is the main advantage of this bitwise AND operator? Time complexity. Whenever you are going to use the bitwise AND operator, it will save your time complexity of the execution.